You're familiar by now with BPA. I mean, we've spoken about it for years. BPA is an organic compound, and it's used to make plastic. It's used to make resin. So it's in your environment and unfortunately, in your body. And they did a study that showed that over 95%, 99 point something percent of people in this country have this plastic residue in your body. It's used very widely in industry. The lining of every can you use is lined with plastic, BPA. So if you're using canned tomatoes, soups, whatever you've got in that can, it's exposed to BPA. But it's also used in your water bottles, tubing, wrappings for food, packaging for food. It's all over the place. And it's proven to be a carcinogenic. It's proven to be an endocrine disruptor, especially to the thyroid. It's an estrogen disruptor. It creates a terrible sperm in male. I mean, it's just a really horrible chemical. If you turn over a plastic bottle and, they have these little signal, these markers for recycling, if there's a number 3 or a number 7 on it, that is the highest amount of BPA. Probably all plastic, no matter what the number on the marker, has BPA in it. But type 3, type 7 especially, very high in BPA. It also has been known to increase body weight. It makes you fat by interfering with your endocrine system, especially true in children. It impacts memory by messing with the hippocampus. The brand new study in 2009 showed that it interrupts a hippocampal activity, disrupting memory, concentration, and focus. It negatively impacts dopamine. It's related to breast cancer, to neurotoxicity, to neurological tumors, to prostate cancer. It suppresses methylation. You know how often we talk about the importance of methylation? Well, it literally suppresses methylation, so your body doesn't produce enough glutathione to get rid of it. I mean, it's really quite an amazing a chemical in the environment. You do not want it in your body. What's in the news today is a study that just was completed in which they took a group of people and just for, you ready for this? Just for 3 days, made sure they had no exposure whatsoever to BPA. They didn't use any canned products. They didn't use any plastic packaging. They didn't use any plastic straws. No BPA at all in their environment for just 3 days. Listen to this headline. Levels of bisphenol A, this is from the environmental health perspective, levels of bisphenol A detected in human urine dropped by 66% in just 3 days after subjects eliminated their exposure to canned and plastic packaging. It says such packaging is a major source of human exposure to BPA and other endocrine disrupting chemicals such as phthalate, another plastic residue. And it says scientists also noted that once participants returned to the canned goods, BPA levels returned back up to a higher abnormal level. The study with 20 participants in 5 families scattered throughout the United States. The scientists collected 11 urine samples over 8 days to measure the variations in the levels of BPA before, during, and after they took the BPA out of their environment. They found that levels decreased significantly, quote unquote, decreased significantly during the period of intervention where BPA was removed from their environment, meaning they weren't eating and drinking out of plastic, they weren't microwaving with plastic material, they weren't using canned products, no BPA whatsoever. It says consumption of canned foods and beverages and restaurant meals were the most likely source of exposure to BPA in their usual diets. They reported limited use of water bottles, prepared frozen foods, microwaving. They did all the things they were supposed to do for 3 days, keeping BPA out of their environment. And the results of the study suggest that removing BPA from packaging will significantly decrease exposure for adults and children. So if in 3 days they were able to eliminate 66% of the BPA in an individual by just avoiding certain canned products and certain packaging, you can do the same thing. Now listen to this. This is where it gets really political and horrible. They gave this information to the trade organization that represents packaging. It's the North American Packaging Alliance. They totally 100% dismissed the research. And they say that BPA does not accumulate in the body, that it's detoxified very rapidly, and that it posed no health hazard in food packaging. So they looked at the research, totally ignored it, and said, "No, you're wrong. BPA, we know, gets eliminated from the body very, very rapidly and does not accumulate, despite literally hundreds of reports to the contrary."